UFP, the United Federation of Podcasts.
Engage.
78 years have passed since the days of the original USS Enterprise. Now a new galaxy starship has been designed.
Transporter Chief, beam our listeners aboard. Welcome to Galaxy Class, a Star Trek The Next Generation podcast on the United Federation of Podcast Network. I am your Chief Recreational Officer, Ria Papageorgiou, joined today by our essential diplomatic standard bearer, Kevin Scharf, and our head of astrophysics or something else, Joe Keegan. Gentlemen, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm just going to clarify, I'm something else today.
Ooh, what are you today?
I think I'm going to be the head of DIY.
Okay.
Oh.
Because I've been very busy doing DIY today.
What's the project for today?
So, a few things. Yeah, Ewan commented that I'm very terrible at having too many things on the go at the one time and never really finish anything. Mm-hmm. So, I needed a new podcasting desk in my podcasting room that I'm in. So I bought a giant piece of MDF that I kind of cut to size and managed to get it in the space, and it's all nice, but MDF really irritates my skin. So I've got paint, so I'm going to paint it. And then the back garden didn't have a gate on it, so I bought a gate and I put that up today, so we've now got a gate in the back garden.
Nice.
Wow.
And there's a bunch of other things. I'll have to floor the loft as well, properly floor it, so we can have more storage. So yeah.
Cool.
Kevin, how are you?
I'm doing okay. Surviving the winter, staying indoors because there's no place else to go. And watching lots of TV.
Cool. I can't wait for you to visit either, Ria. You as well, Kevin. You should.
I'd love to come to Scotland.
Whenever we're allowed, yeah.
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 You get the flooring up in the loft, and that's probably where you'll put me, huh?
Well, it depends how cheeky you are to me during this recording, so we'll see.
So I might be in the backyard then.
Yeah, you might be under the decking.
There you
Who
go.
knows?
Do you not have snow this time of year, Joe, to work in the backyard?
No, we don't get a great. We live on the coast, so we get less snow anyway.
Yeah, it's milder there.
The worst snow that we had in Scotland, I think it was the worst in a long time, was it March about 3 years ago, and literally it snowed. I'm going to say like Canadian levels of snow. There were literally like a place my mum and dad couldn't get out of their house. There was like 4 feet of snow. Everywhere closed because we're not set up to handle that level of snow. So the schools were closed. I got the week off work, but where I live on the coast, there was no snow whatsoever. It was nice sunny days, so I got to go out and walk the dogs, and everybody else was panicking about not being able to get out to buy groceries and things. So
I was just wondering because I'd seen pictures this week of Europe and the amount of snow they got. Like Madrid got half a meter of snow, and it was buried and shut down, and Paris was pretty buried too, apparently.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, Greece got hit too.
But Spain is not equipped for snow. Not that part of Spain, anyway.
No. Neither is Athens.
An interesting thing happened when I was walking the dogs last week, I think it was, or the week before. The river Ayr, AYR, had kind of partially frozen over when it got really cold, which I don't remember it ever having done before. But when it started to heat up a bit, the ice started to melt. But do you know those videos what you see like in the Arctic where you hear the cracking glaciers and you hear that icy crunch noise? The river was doing that as the ice all gathered up, collided with itself, and then dragged itself along the not the shore, the riverbank, I was like, oh, I heard a noise from a distance and I had to go and investigate. It was quite exciting.
Yikes. Well, we had a blizzard here yesterday, and while there wasn't a lot of snow, I don't know, maybe a couple inches or so, I don't know, a few centimeters, the winds were insane, and we had like 50 kph winds sustained, so 30 miles an hour-ish, but we had gusts of up to 80 kilometers per hour, or 50 miles an hour. It was nuts. It was for like 24 hours. I mean, I thought my house was going to blow over, but thankfully it didn't.
We've actually had a very mild week. Temperatures have been above freezing. A lot of snow has been melting. We did get a bit last night. I haven't been outside to use the snowblower yet, but I should do that before it freezes.
Oh, the joys of winter. Bleh. We need to make some... Yes.
But the days are getting longer. The sun doesn't set until after 5 p.m. now, so that's a good
And we'll make some Aussie friends and then go visit them this time of year after the pandemic. And it'll all be good.
There we go.
Well, let's check the communication array to see if we have any comments from our listeners.
Logs accessed.
So we've got a few comments from the Federation Council Chambers when we asked what are some of your favorite Data moments. Vera Bible says, I can't get enough of Data's love for Spot. But also his scene with Riker at the end of Measure of a Man where he says, that action injured you and saved me. I will not forget it. Makes me tear up every time. Michael Bentley mentioned the end of Star Trek Picard, which we were avoiding because it was not strictly TNG. Also his love for Lal and everything in Data's day, especially the dancing. And Catherine Vienna said, life forms, tiny little life forms. Which I hope you stuck around after the credits to hear Amy's rendition of that song.
I am going to make an admission and say that I watched the end of Picard again. You know the bit where he's unplugging Data? And it flicks between him unplugging the giant isolinear chips to Data in his, like, on the sofa, like, slowly getting older and older and older. And it's just such a lovely scene.
Yeah.
Until, like, Data just gets so old and then dies and then kind of turns to vapor and vanishes. And then the whole scene dissolves into like a nebula.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And it's just, there's something just really, it's really well done. So, yeah, no, I think I've just come out and say I liked a bit of Picard.
Well, I'm glad to hear it, Joe. And very adult of you to admit.
Yes, thank you. Okay, I don't know, listeners, if this comment is really worth reading, but it's from Galaxy Class episode 22 when Amy, Kevin and I were discussing what ifs. It's badly written as well. Okay, maybe I'm just too much of a pack lid to find the post for hashtag Galaxy Class 22. But here's my response to what if Picard and Crusher were married coming into the series. For the inner light, the writers would have chosen Riker instead of Picard as the target of the probe. Riker would have lived this life with a wife and children and then realised how much he wanted that life with Troy. Thaddeus would have been born earlier, and when he got sick of a cure... Thaddeus would have been born earlier, and when he got sick, a cure would be available because synths would not yet have been banned. Okay, I take it back. It's actually quite a smart, quite a thought-provoking comment, and it's from the host that wasn't there at the time, Ria Papageorgiou.
Well, thank you, Joe.
Kind of. What is the episode better because Patrick Stewart's such a great actor and really pulls it off? Would it be as good if it was Riker?
I wondered the same thing.
I don't know. But it's a really interesting thought. We'd be able to see Thaddeus. We'd potentially see Thaddeus and his younger sister in that episode in Nepenthe, was it? In Picard? Get me with my Picard knowledge.
I know. Impressive.
That's the only title of a Picard episode I know.
Me too.
This is the captain. Senior officers will report to my ready room immediately.
Well, lovely listeners, today we are starting a new series called Build Your Own Watch List. I'm one of those that I guess I don't like making decisions, and whatever happens to be on HNI TV that night is what I'm going to watch. But for those of you that like to pick and choose which episodes you're in the mood for, if you're looking for, say, I don't know, a comedic episode, or if you feel like a good cry and want to watch a tearjerker, or if you want to see something about godlike beings, we've kind of come up with our top 3 episodes for these different categories. And we want to know what you think. And also, if you have ideas for, subjects that you'd like to create a watch list for. So we'll start with comedic episodes. Joe, what were your kind of top 3 comedic TNG episodes? Not Picard. I know you'll have to hold yourself back.
Because that show was a laugh riot, Picard.
Yes, it was.
Okay, I have to say for a start that I don't find Star Trek funny. It's not a sitcom. It's not a comedy show. So I don't think there are any episodes of TNG that stand alone as funny episodes. However, there are plenty of times where there are funny moments in some episodes. Okay, given that I was kind of struggling with this list anyway, and I googled what other people had thought were funny episodes, and I was like, I don't find any of them funny. However, the one I think that makes me not laugh, but kind of, now when you kind of internally laugh, that kind of thing, is Data's Day.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just quite a different episode, and I find myself quite amused by Data's monologue throughout the episode. All his logs that he records, his personal logs about what he's doing. There are some really funny moments, like when Keiko tells him to go and tell Chief O'Brien that the wedding's off, and Data thinks this is going to be a great idea because he knows that Chief O'Brien, all he wants to do is make Keiko happy. And if Keiko said that she'll be happy if the wedding's cancelled, then Data assumes that Chief O'Brien will be happy if Keiko's happy if the wedding's cancelled. So he goes to 10 forward, they're setting up for the wedding, and Data says, I have good news. Keiko has cancelled the wedding. And it's just kind of zany, almost slapstick, and it makes me laugh. I think Data I suppose, is he kind of like a toaster? I think that's why I find this episode funny. It's the personal logs of a toaster, essentially. So yeah, I don't have anything else. I don't have a top 3 list of funny episodes because I don't really find and I'll let you guys go first because the other episodes that I'd thought of or other people had thought of were funny. I was like, nah.
You are a pretty serious fellow, though, Joe.
I'm I've got gravitas.
Yes. We all say with straight faces.
Yeah.
So, Kevin, what about you?
Well, I think a lot of times when Star Trek goes for comedy, it falls flat.
Mm-hmm.
But there are quite often funny moments within episodes. But the 3 episodes that I picked, I put them in descending order here. So number 3 is Hollow Pursuits, which at its core does have a sort of darker message. This is the one where we learn about Barclay's holodeck addiction. But just for the moment of I am the goddess of empathy, that is a hilarious moment within that episode. And Barclay is a funny character, even if he does bring to light some serious issues. He is a funny character, so I think almost anything with Barclay in it can be considered comedic. So that's why my number 3 is Hollow Pursuits. Number 2 is Cupid. This is Worf saying, "I am not a merry man."
Yes.
And seeing the entire cast in Robin Hood tights is just quite funny to me. Q often brings the funny. And Q may show up on another list here of mine as well, but for comedy, I'm going with Cupid again, just for that sort of juxtaposition of macho burly Klingon in skimpy green tights. But my number one comedy episode, and this was the one that came to me first, is Rascals. The making Captain Picard 12 years old, and he still has all his faculties. He is still in charge of the ship, but putting him in a situation where he has to pretend to be a child. There's comedy to be mined there when he rushes to Riker and gives his daddy a big hug. That's comedy gold. So, Guinan jumping on the bed.
Yeah.
And trying to knock the seriousness out of Ro. I think that is why Rascals is my number one comedic episode.
And O'Brien with a child-age Keiko.
Child bride.
Yeah.
A little creepy, but funny.
Yes.
And interestingly, I watched that episode this week, and I think you're right to highlight all the funny aspects of it, but I don't find it a funny episode, weirdly.
Really?
I get, that there are funny bits on it, but overall I don't find it funny. I think I maybe look to this category strangely. There's another funny bit where young Picard comes out of the school area and says he needs to see his father to the Ferengi guy, and he's like, he gets more and more irate. He's like, I really have to see my father now.
Yes.
Which is just funny in its silliness, I think.
Yeah.
I like the when he calls him number one, and then he's like, "Oh, but you're my number one dad." Yeah. It's a cute one. There's a lot of cute ones in there, cute moments in there. Well, it looks like we have 0 overlaps in this category because, my 3, and this was also one that I kind of struggled with, but I went with kind of like you guys, what has funny moments in it, even if it's not a funny episode, and what do I enjoy watching? For example, Sub Rosa, even though it's kind of a joke, is not something I enjoy watching, so not on my particular comedic episode list. But the first one, and Amy will disagree with this one, but Captain's Holiday. I just think that's funny, and I like seeing, Picard, just the different aspects of Picard. He's not the button-down in command kind of guy. He gets to let loose a little bit, and some of the premises are a little ridiculous to the point where I enjoy it because they're funny. Right. Vash double-crossing everyone, and Picard double-crossing Vash, and just all the hilarity that ensues, and of course Ferengi and Risa, and there's just I think it's a funny episode. So that's one of mine in no particular order. Another one that I had was A Matter of Time. And that's the one where they have Berlinghoff Rasmussen, who's supposedly a historian from the future. And it's another one, too, where it's kind of like he's such a ridiculous character that it's funny. And he went to such great lengths to try and pull this scam that, it's kind of impressive. But the whole thing is kind of funny. And when you know that he's just a con artist, and you see, the crew of the Enterprise kind of falling for his cons, I think it's funny. I always enjoy watching that one. And then the last one, you might disagree with this. It's definitely not a comedy, but I think it has so many funny parts. It's Starship Mine.
Oh.
And another one, I guess, where Picard gets to, kind of act outside of his normal button-down captain character, the diehard in space. But there's so many cute things in this episode, especially when you're kind of watching it as diehard in space. And then the scenes on board the planet with, I have to look up that guy's name because I forgot, Commander Hutchinson and his small talk, and then Data.
Yeah.
Oh
That's
my
very funny.
gosh. Yeah. I get a kick out of that. So,
and Die Hard, while not a comedy, has a lot of humor in it too, right? So it's an action-oriented piece with comedy in it, and if this episode is modeled on that, it does it really well.
Is Starship Mine a Christmas episode though?
Just like Die Hard? Sure.
Is there Christmas in the 24th century?
There is in the 23rd.
Do Klingons celebrate Christmas?
Do they? I don't know.
Do they celebrate the birth of Kalish?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I have to find out.
But those are good. Those are good choices. Now, I did Google a list of funniest TNG episodes, and some of the episodes that were on the list, I kind of just went, like Fistful of Datas was on the list, which, it's just got a funny premise, but I don't really find it all that funny. Although, Brent Spiner dressed as the mistress of the farmhouse is pretty funny.
Yeah, funny. I think maybe you've hit the nail on the head there with the why people think it's funny. It's got a funny premise. Like phantasms, I don't find funny.
Yeah, me either.
Like the telephone inside Data and Troy as a cellular peptide cake. It's kind of haha. That's it.
It's more surreal than funny.
Yeah. It'd be like saying schisms is funny.
I think, when you look at other series, the original series had Trouble with Tribbles and the Mud episodes. Like, those were funny episodes. And I don't think the TNG writers had that same kind of spark.
Right. Yeah, and DS9, I think, had some great comedic episodes. But,
yes.
TNG, hey, it just wasn't their thing.
I think you're right.
Alrighty, next playlists that we have, or watch lists, I should say, godlike beings. And I think it's another category where the original series probably, takes the cake, the cellular peptide cake with mint frosting. But yeah, so what did you have for godlike beings in TNG, Kevin?
So, for specific episodes, I chose Where No One Has Gone Before. The Traveler, not quite on the level of a lot of godlike beings, but he did have the power to move things with his mind and travel through space and time. For an early episode, that's a great character. And it's interesting that I think a lot of the godlike being episodes happened in the first couple of seasons, except for Q, who recurs throughout. I don't think by the time we got to seasons 5 and 6 and 7, we got as many sort of monster of the week godlike beings. But the Traveler is number 3 on my list. Number 2 is from the episode Survivors, and that's Kevin Uxbridge.
Yeah.
Because I love how he presents himself as not a godlike being, and then when you find out, it's this great reveal, this great shock. The fact that he feels remorse for having killed all those Huznaks, I think it's a nice twist on the godlike being, and I really enjoy Survivors. Number 1 has to be Q. Specifically for me, I chose Tapestry as the episode because that's not Q being malevolent trickster god. That's Q really seeming to care about Picard and giving Picard an experience that really lets us see what makes Jean-Luc Picard and who he is and where he's from. So of all the Q episodes, I put Tapestry on the list.
I'm kind of embarrassed to say I didn't even think about Q as a godlike being, which,
Really?
You said that and I'm like, oh, whoops. I guess I think of him as a member of the crew.
I think
he bookends the show, right?
Yeah.
Like Q's in the first and the last.
I intentionally didn't pick Q because I thought it was so obvious. Like, it's just like he's the most godlike being there is, isn't there?
Yes, that's why I didn't pick Q, because it was so obvious.
Well, I'm glad that I was the obvious one and chose Q, and I hope I chose a less than obvious episode because I like a sort of more serious not dour, but a Q who's more here to help than hinder.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the ones I had probably, it's funny, after listening to yours, Kevin, I'm like, what was I thinking when I came up with my list? But I guess when I was thinking about episodes, I put the emphasis on the like in godlike more so than the god. But thought about episodes that had, beings that were, I guess, exceeded the capacity of humanoids or the typical Starfleet Federation species. So one of the ones I had was the Chase. And that's the one where the humans, Romulans, Klingons, Cardassians are all trying to solve this puzzle left by these archaeological cues. And anyway, end up finding out about the species that kind of planted their DNA throughout the galaxy. And that's why all these different aliens are so similar, which I think is an awesome premise. Because it really explains a lot about how, there's, when you think about it, there's absolutely no reason to believe that, say, a human and a Klingon could breed and produce viable offspring because, you look at evolution and cosmology and all that, it just can't happen. But if you've got, a master species out there seeding the galaxy, okay, that makes a little more sense. And of course, I always love seeing Salome Jens, however you pronounce her name, that also played the founder in Deep Space Nine. But I think that's a cool episode, somewhat godlike. And then the next one, which you'll probably point and laugh and say that's not godlike at all, but The Inner Light. And I guess why I put it on this list, obviously it's an episode I enjoy, but the notion that you could live an entire lifetime in just a few moments, it's almost like this godlike power that this probe was endowed with, where it gave Picard another life. It created this life within him, and extended the life and the civilization. What was the name of the planet? I can't remember. Catan, yes. So that's, I guess, where I was coming from with that. But yeah, how cool is that? And who knows, maybe some godlike probe will come along and do the same thing to Riker, and we'll have an answer to our earlier question.
Yeah.
And then the last one I chose is another one that I really enjoy, and I almost thought about listing it as a comedic episode, but that's Devil's Due. And here you have someone who is pretending basically to be a god, who's posing as a god, and through various forms of trickery is able to convince this entire planet that she's the god that they've been waiting for. But I don't know. I like that episode. It's cute. It's funny. It's crazy. Yeah.
That episode scared me originally. See, when she changes into Feklar, the Klingon devil, and then she changes into our version of the devil, kind of Christian devil. That always scared me watching it.
Wow.
Just seeing the devil, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Somebody posted on Facebook earlier today about movies you watched when you were younger that traumatized your childhood. And for me, it's The Exorcist. I must have watched it when I was about 15, 16. My parents were away on holiday. And I literally had to walk around the house with a crucifix until they got home. I was that terrified.
Oh, wow.
Like, having a Catholic upbringing, it kind of planted a seed in me that I'd opened the gateways to demonic possession by watching the movie.
Wow.
So scared.
How old were you?
15, 16.
15,
yeah.
Oh.
I wasn't very young. I was almost an adult, but it was still...
I was a very sensitive child who couldn't watch certain episodes of Scooby-Doo without...
Really? That's awesome.
Wow.
Well, I'm a very insensitive adult who still doesn't... I've never seen The Exorcist, and yeah, there's...
I don't love
me
horror
either.
movies.
It's just, no, thank you.
Interesting. Okay, so damn you, Ria, for stealing some of my episodes.
Same page, woohoo!
Yes, so the first one, like I've misinterpreted our outline. I thought you were to pick one from each category, so I had to quickly think of a third episode for this, and I was going to choose the episode Justice for godlike beings, because that you don't ever discover who or what they are in the giant kind of half transparent cloaked space station in orbit of the planet of the Edo. That's the one with all the half naked people that love to run about and make love, and also the episode where Wesley breaks a law and is sentenced to death. So yeah, I thought it was an obvious choice. This alien race in orbit are playing God for the inhabitant. They're not. I'm not sure why the Enterprise is there in the first place, because they're not a warp capable species. So, I mean, they shouldn't.
Good point. Did they reach out to the Federation or something?
I've no idea.
They beamed down because they thought it might be good for shore leave. I remember that.
But why would they be there in the first place? I mean, you don't just.
They had just discovered the planet. They were. I'm just looking at Memory Alpha. They had just dropped off a party of colonists to another star system, and they discovered this M-class planet in an adjoining system.
Okay, so that's fine, but your sensors are going to say, oh, there's a pre-industrial and industrial society down there. Mm-hmm. Let's not disturb them because it's against the Prime Directive.
But could they see the Edo god ship in orbit of the planet? Like, could they have thought maybe that's
that appeared. So. That it was kind of completely invisible and cloaked, and then it appeared when I think the godlike being realised that they were trying to interfere with their children down on the planet. So it's just an unusual premise, a bit of maybe a slip. I don't reckon they should have been there.
Well, it's first season, right? It's like episode 8.
Yeah, let's not read too much into it. So that's my first episode. Mm-hmm. The second episode, which I also think is quite funny as well, is the Nth Degree.
Oh yeah,
and that's the one where they are at it's a big telescope. Is it the Amargosa Observatory or is it the Remmler Array? It's some big subspace telescope, and there's an alien space probe that's interfering with it. And this alien space probe does something to Barclay and makes him really confident and really smart. And basically it turns out that the space probe has evolved Barclay to the point where he's able to create the technology to kind of transport the Enterprise to the planet of the people that sent the probe out in the first place. And that was their way of exploring the universe. To send these probes out, make the people they encounter really advanced so they can then travel to visit them, so that you're not sending your own people out, because that might be a bit dangerous.
That kind of reminds me a lot of Spock's brain in a lot of ways.
Okay. It kind of reminded me of the Bobbyverse books by Dennis E. Taylor. We Are Legion, We Are Bob is the first book, where the idea is that we create von Neumann probes. So space probes with an artificial intelligence on board and all the technology and abilities to self-replicate. So basically you'd send your probe out, its instruction would be go and search and explore. It would find asteroids, it would mine raw materials, it would basically 3D print or produce another von Neumann probe, a copy of itself. So you'd have 2 probes. And those 2 probes would go away, then those 2 probes would multiply and you'd have 4 probes, then 8 probes, and before you know it, you've got thousands of probes, all artificially intelligent, all exploring the universe for you. So you're not risking human life. So it kind of reminded me of that. I also Yeah. I also really like the scene where Barclay goes to the holodeck to create his machine because the Enterprise computer isn't fast enough.
Mm-hmm.
And he needs the chair and he needs a console and he's got the lasers firing into his brain. Love it.
Yeah.
It's just such a cool scene. And then my third episode is the one that Ria stole and is the chase. The chase is one of my favourite episodes, but I looked at it as the species that they discover and the genetic puzzle that they solve is kind of the creator, isn't it? It solves the creation myth. They are the progenitor species for all the kind of sentient spacefaring species in the Alpha Quadrant. And it kind of helps explain why we've all got 2 arms, 2 legs. We all look kind of bipedal and look humanoid in a way. And
how Klingons and humans can hook up.
True. But not why humans only have one penis.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. And then Lieutenant Eric's from the animated series, and I can't remember the name of his species. It's got the 3 arms and 3 legs.
Triaxian.
You got to have a 3 in there. Thriais come from the Greek. But those could just be genetic mutations along the way.
True. And I'd like that. I sometimes think about our place at the moment in 2021, and I'm quite convinced that there is intelligent life elsewhere out in the universe.
I hope so.
Yeah, me too. Because we're not very intelligent. But Salome Jen's character says something that they were a spacefaring species and went out, but never found anything. They never found any other intelligent life. And I was like, is that the case for us? Are we going to be the first intelligent species that's going to explore? And it's too early in the age of the universe for other intelligent life to have evolved? It could be, but I don't think so.
Well, are you familiar with the Drake equation?
Yeah.
So a part of the thing too is, we don't have to be the first or the last. I mean, there could be, a billion other intelligent species existing right now, but the problem is the speed of light, the speed that information can travel. So if there are intelligent species, 100 million light years away, that's all well and good. But by the time our probe made it out there, even if it went at the speed of light, 100 million light years from now, and they communicated back, the sun will have already swallowed us up. So
happy thoughts. I know it's quite
it's a
problem with space. It's far too big and stuff travels far too slowly.
Cool stuff, though. Yeah. Well, since we're on the topic of tearjerkers, let's move on to tearjerkers. And I'll start this round. One episode that, okay, so if you know me, you know that I'm not a crier or like really feel emotions or anything besides overall silliness and the occasional gas. But as tearjerkers go, The Defector is one that gets me. Yeah, the very last scene. I mean, here we have Admiral Jarek. He's a Romulan. He's the enemy. The Enterprise brings him on board. They're treating him as the enemy, yet we grow sympathetic toward that character. At least I do. I really come to like Jarek and to be rooting for him. And then when you find out that this isn't all a ploy, he's not trying to, he's not a spy or anything, but he genuinely was doing what he thought was right. And Tomalak and the Romulan Council played him the fool. And as a result, his family's disgraced. His children will think his father's a traitor. He can never go back. And then he ends up killing himself. Tearjerker, if you ask me.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I think so. Another episode that I had was Tapestry. And again, I can't say I've ever actually cried during any of these, but this one, I remember watching it, oh gosh, I was probably in my early 30s, I want to say. And kind of around the time that the fact that I was not getting any younger was starting to hit, and, seeing wrinkles and realizing that my physical prime would not last forever. And so as I'm starting to kind of deal with my own mortality, and where I was in life and poor decisions, so many poor decisions. Anyway, so this episode just got me thinking like nothing before, and it really struck at my heart, like a Nausicaan spear. Yeah, so what a great episode. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't list Reunion, where Kalar comes back, this time with some kid, Alexander? I don't know, he's not important. But who doesn't love Kalar? She's another one of those characters that I think right off the bat, you just love Kalar. I mean, there should be a Kalar spin-off series, just saying. But when she's killed, that, I don't know, kind of pisses me off. But the scene where Worf, has Alexander stop and look at her, and this is what death is, and, Worf, does the scream and all that. Yeah. If I had tears, I would shed them.
The good choices there. I like that.
Thank you, Joe.
And you, luckily for me, didn't pick any of mine. So.
Woohoo! Awesome. Nice. Cool. Let's see if you guys have any overlap. Joe, what do you have?
Although one of mine you did pick for your godlike.
Yeah, mine either. Yeah, I was sure I had picked the three most definitive tearjerkers, and Ria didn't pick any of them.
There you go.
True. So I think the first and most obvious one that I have to mention is the one that I kind of mention this episode quite a lot when I'm podcasting, and that's The Offspring.
That's it on my list.
Oh, sorry, Kevin.
No, it's okay.
So yeah, just that scene at the end, and I think I mentioned it last week as well, where the Admiral comes in, and he describes how frantically Data was working to try and reconnect the positronic neurons to save Lal, and no matter what he did, he would fix a few, and then more would fail, and no matter what he did, he was never going to save his daughter. And you never see any of this. It's all just in the Admiral's description. And it's just really lovely and really poignant. So, yeah, that's my first choice. The second one, the second one is The Outcast. Which, and the more I think about it, the more sad I think it is. So that's the one where Riker falls in love with Soren, who's a member of an androgynous race called the Janai. And Soren identifies as female, which isn't allowed in her culture. So they want to take her and they want to reprogram her, but give her some kind of what's the term? Like therapy, conversion therapy, which is why I think it's really sad, because it's got an analogue in real life with gay conversion therapy and how it still goes on in some cultures, and so there's a tragicness to the whole story, and it doesn't have a positive ending. She gets taken away, she goes through the therapy, and she comes back not identifying as a female anymore. And it's like, oh, okay. So from their point of view, it worked. But from my point of view, it wasn't her anymore. They changed her. So I find that very sad. In another time, in another place, that could have been me going through. Do you know what I mean? I was quite lucky to have been born when I was born and where I was born. The last one, what was my last one?
Sub Rosa?
Oh no, the saddest one is the Inner Light. Then
that's on my list too.
Oh, I'm sorry again, Kevin.
Nope, it's okay. I think the fact that we're in agreement here lets us know who's wrong in this episode.
True that.
I think it's a really beautiful episode, but there's a sadness to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Knowing that this species no longer exists, and no matter what they did, they couldn't save themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the tragedy for Picard, having lived that life and knowing that everyone that he'd ever loved or known was long dead,
Mm-hmm.
and having to live with that thought. I think there's also something about having the road not taken. Is that the term?
Yeah.
Thinking about all the possibilities that your life could have ended up in,
Mm-hmm.
but we all are where we are just now. And I have this thought sometimes where you'll see something on TV and it will spark not a memory, but a thought about what it would be like to live that life. And for a fraction of a second, your brain kind of runs through a million different things about what it would have been like to be there and do that or grow up in that place, and how that is never going to be possible,
Mm-hmm.
which is why it's kind of sad, because it's a lost opportunity in a way.
You know, that's interesting, because that's how I feel about Tapestry. I think that's why Tapestry really, really, hits me to the core, because it is about the path not taken. And
It's exactly like that. I was thinking about that when you mentioned Tapestry earlier.
Yeah, and the bad decisions that you make, and maybe that's why I can't say that I really have regrets in life. It's because of Tapestry and seeing that. I don't know, when I saw it that one time, like 10, 15 years ago, and it really just hit me, was that, you always have like these poor decisions that you regret, or just things you wish you had done differently and all that. But that episode really made me realize that I am, here now where I am because of that, because of all those poor decisions. And shoot, actually at the time I wasn't necessarily in a great place. I think I am now, aside from the fact that I'm in Nebraska and it's cold out. But in the Inner Light, you ever have some crazy dream and you wake up and it just kind of casts a shadow over your entire day, good or bad, when you feel like you actually lived that. I actually had that last night. I dreamed that I had to serve jail time in order to equalize the marriage estate as part of the divorce, because my husband had spent so much time in prison, which I'm glad it doesn't work that way. But it really kind of, anyway, digress here. But yeah, nice picks, Joe. And Kevin both.
Yeah, so you got 2 out of 3 of mine. So The Offspring, for Data to go through all that work to lose Lal at the end, heartbreaking. Even if he can't feel the heartbreak, that makes it all the more heartbreaking, because everybody else is feeling that heartbreak for him. Yeah, it's emotional. I chose Inner Light as well. Again, choices not made, Plus, we're dealing with the loss of an entire civilization. Yeah. The fact that these are people that we'll never see again. I think that adds to the heartbreak of it. But the number 1 episode on my life takes a character who we've always just seen as comic relief and makes her the star of a tragedy, and that's Half a Life.
Boom.
The romance of Timothy and Lwaxana Troy, I think it's played brilliantly by Majel Barrett and David Ogden Stiers. I think they're lovely together. And the fact that she almost convinces him to go against the culture of his people so that they could continue to live out a happy existence. And yet he can't. He's got to follow the ways his people live. Heartbreaking. And to take a character like that, like Lwaxana, who we've always just seen as a happy-go-lucky space Mame. You know, I don't know if you've ever seen the musical Mame, but that's who she is, right? She's Auntie Mame. She comes in and she brings the cheer. And to put her through that kind of heartbreak, I mean, it's not the first time that happens to her. Mm-hmm. It happens again with Dark Page, you know, and on Deep Space Nine with Odo. But this is the first time, and I think it's really effective. It's great writing, it's great acting, and it's a really great story that makes me tear up because it's like a missed connection, right?
Yeah.
I think the saddest thing about that episode is at the end where she comes into the transporter room, not to try and one last ditch attempt to convince him not to do it, but it's to join him, because when you go through the death ritual, whatever it's called, you're surrounded by your friends and family and your loved ones. Yeah. And I know I would do it. You couldn't not do it. Mm-hmm. But knowing that you're going to face that grief directly,
it shows you the strength of her character.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
it does. Horrific.
Because if he hadn't gone through with it, it would have been kind of a lose-lose. It would have been similar to the defector in that if he hadn't gone through with it, he would have disgraced his family. He could never return to his home planet. You know, his life as he knew it would end, and he'd have this new life with Lwaxana. But and I think that shows the depth of, you know, her actual love for him, because that would have been very selfish for her to demand that he do that. But she loved him enough to let him, you know, respect that he was going to put his family, his culture, you know, his traditions ahead of his own personal desires. And then, yeah, you're right. It's so sweet that she's there, that she goes down for the ceremony. I mean, how many of us who have lost a loved one and haven't been there, and you wish you were there, you know? So, yeah. Another great episode that I didn't think of.
Well, when you've got so many episodes, you can only think of so many. But that was the number one episode that came to my mind when I was thinking of what makes me sad.
Yeah. And how interesting, too, that for the most part, aside from this last category, we had such different lists. You know, it's interesting what makes us, you know, laugh or cry or whatever.
That's so true.
So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see in future Build Your Own Watch List episodes what different topics we have and if there's anything that we're ever all on the same page on. But that's a nice thing about 7 seasons of Next Generation is you can have such a different variety of episodes. You know, it's too bad we can't have, you know, 26 episode seasons with Discovery and Picard and Lower Decks.
I do miss it. I know it's a lot of work and it's very expensive, but I kind of miss big long seasons.
Oh, me too.
6 episodes.
Yeah. And to take the time and develop characters and you know, people complain with these new series that, you know, oh, they're not sticking to the arc, or they're sticking to the arc too much, or they're not developing this character, or why did they spend a whole episode on this character? If you have 26 episode seasons, doesn't matter. And you're going to have some crap episodes, and that's okay. Yeah.
True.
Well, I hope our listeners give us their episodes for these topics too. I'd like to continue the conversation in the Federation Council chambers and anywhere that they can contact us. So, and if they've got suggestions for future watch list topics, I think that would be nice to hear as well.
And if they want to, listeners, if you want to watch the episodes that we've suggested for our watch lists, I would suggest that you go godlike character episodes first, and then do the saddest ones, and then to cheer yourself up, do the funny ones.
There you go.
Who knows? Maybe we can have a watch party together.
That'd be good.
When you guys come and visit?
I don't know how that works.
When we come to visit.
Maybe
we'll just do nothing but stay at Joe's house and watch Star Trek.
Yeah. Let's not go see the beauty that is Scotland, but just let's stay and watch Star Trek.
How was your vacation to Scotland, Kevin? I watched 42 episodes of Star Trek. It was great.
Well, hey, if Joe's, got the Star Trek cocktail book ready and yeah.
Absolutely.
And who knows, we could maybe do like a live podcast of commentary or something. See, we have it all planned out. All we need is for the pandemic to go away now.
Incoming transmission.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on today's show and hope you'll join the Facebook group Federation Council Chambers. You're welcome to start conversations with us or add any general Star Trek info that you want to share with the group.
If you'd like to send us an email, you can email the network at contact@ufp.earth, and we might read your email on the show.
And if you're a listener and you like what you're hearing, then you should email the show and let us know, because we'll read it out. And we like getting emails. We would. Mm-hmm. We would really like that. Wouldn't we? Ria, you'd like that, wouldn't you?
I would love that.
Kevin, you'd like that?
I would be over the moon if that happened.
Be delighted entirely. Please hit the subscribe button on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a star rating and written review. That star rating and written review is hard to say when you're Scottish. That helps others to find the show. You can also follow the entire network's podcast with our master feed by searching United Federation of Podcasts. This way you won't miss any of our fine shows like All Good Things, Franchise Fatigue, Always Hold On to Arrow, General Quarters, Mickey's Marvels, Infinite Diversity, and TrekPod. So Kevin, where can people find you when you're being godly, laughing and crying at the same time?
Well, they can just bow down and worship, laugh and cry. But if you don't feel that that's appropriate, which I get enough of that already. People look at me and cry. If that's not good for you, you can contact me through my Twitter at True North Nerds, which is the name of a podcast I do with a few friends, local friends up here, or my other podcast, which is about live theater in Central Ontario, which is called Stage Whispers. And I'm in the Federation Council Chambers on Facebook. You can find me there quite often as well. Ria, where can people find you when you are having the experience of either reliving your entire life or someone else's?
Well, when I'm not reliving other lifetimes, you can find me at my neighbor's house eating because they have been feeding me like crazy. You can also find me in the Federation Council Chambers on Facebook. You can find me vacuuming the house later this afternoon. Or you can actually send me an email at contact@ufp.earth. And guess what? I'll probably read it on the podcast. So, Joe, where can people find you when you are not busy examining the road not traveled?
Oh, don't, because I do that far too much. And it gives me deep longings. That's the term, deep longings. But when I'm not doing that, you can find me using my new telescope, because I bought a new telescope.
Cool.
Well, I bought my first telescope. It's very cool. I'll send you pictures. You can also find me on the Federation Council Chambers on Facebook. You can tweet me on the Twitter at JoeyJoe77UK, or you can email me, joepodcasts@gmail.com.
Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
If you'd like to help us keep all our shows coming to you each week, you can become a patron of the network on Patreon. Visit patreon.com/UFPearth, that's patreon.com/UFPEARTH to get all the details. We have 4 different levels starting at just $1 per month and would appreciate any support you can give us.
We would like to recognize our executive producers, Brandon Shea Mutala, Ken Tripp, Zach Moore, and Tony Robinson. We would also like to thank Zach Tripp for our opening and closing music, and Tony Robinson for our amazing artwork.
Thank you for beaming aboard the Galaxy class, And until next time...
Emotive electrochemical stimulus response, cranial plate, bipedal locomotion, endoskeletal contiguous external integument.
There are many parts of my youth that I'm not proud of. There were loose threads, untidy parts of me that I would like to remove. But when I pulled on one of those threads, it unraveled the tapestry of my life. Stay classy, Galaxy.
Engage.
This has been a production of MTMR Media Works.